Basically, the movie is about a girl who has to rely on her bravery to defy a custom. However, not every custom or tradition is something bad from the outset. Are there any traditions in your life you approve or you want to pass on to your children?
That's a very good question. How interesting. I think traditions and customs are wonderful things as long as they don't interfere with your, your sort of emotional character, your emotional identity. It's the bad ones are the ones where, yes, you're made to marry somebody you don't love. And we see that's very much alive and well today in certain cultures, and it's miserable. It's a miserable custom. It's ghastly. But for me, I'm just trying to think whether there are any. I suppose there's simple things for me within the family. They're the thing of it being vitally important that we all sit down to eat a meal together at night, and that not being interfered with by machines and televisions and phones and all of that. That central family moment is guarded. I guard that very fiercely. I don't think we have any rites of passage in that sense, in the sense that, Merida, this character, is facing. But she's in a very particular position because she's a princess, and therefore she's being used by the kingdom to keep everyone together, to keep war from breaking out. And the lessons that have to be learnt by the grown-ups are that you don't have to imprison a young person in order to keep the peace. So it's wonderful about the resolution of conflict as well, this movie.
So what, in your view, is the most important message to women or girls in our society?
Well, I would say follow your heart, except I think it's a terrible cliche, and I think that often you don't know what your heart is telling you because it's quite difficult to hear. So I think you have to listen very carefully to your instincts, and if they're telling you that something is wrong, you must have the capacity, the courage, and the confidence to say this is wrong. And that's particularly applicable to women and girls.
So do you believe in fate? And being able to change a fate if there's one?
I think you can change anything you like. I mean, I'm an existentialist, aren't I? I'm a humanist, so I'm not someone who thinks there's going to be, I think that what makes character, which is in a sense your fate, is your character, because it's all you're left with, isn't it? When you're lying there dying, what have you got? You've got nothing but your character. And what makes and unmakes your character is every action of every day that you take. So fate is always in your hands every second of the day, because the way in which you respond to whatever comes your way is what creates you.
Merida is kind of a little heroine. What do you think defines a hero? And what are the heroes in our time?
I've just met a very interesting hero, one of the Angola Three, Robert King, who's spent 35 years in solitary confinement and managed to hold on to his sanity because he believed in something. He believed in justice, in social justice, and in the necessity for action and for taking action and for changing an unjust situation. People like that I find extremely heroic. Mandela's obviously another example, but there are many, many, many of them. The early feminists, Annie Besant, people who were active in changing the world to make it better for you and I particularly as women, but also all activists who make sacrifices, very, very difficult sacrifices, in order to make the world better. I mean, I am very glad I live now and not 200 years ago, or when Merida was alive, when somebody could have said, you've got to marry that person. If I didn't have the courage to say I'm not going to do it, And if I did have the courage to say I wasn't going to do it, I could have been killed anyway. So I'm glad I live now. And the reason I live now and I'm glad about it is because a lot of people made sacrifices and died for me to be this free. And so those are the people